Shalom, everyone, and Shana Tova. As the Hebrew year 5780 comes to a close, it is no surprise or exaggeration to say it has been a difficult year. Political dysfunction, racial tension, and global pandemic have combined to make this a pretty awful year. We have gathered to seek God's blessings in the coming year and to dedicate ourselves to repentance, prayer, and charity, the process by which we earn a place in the book of life. This evening, for the first time, we are having a High Holy Day service by live stream. It is the culmination of weeks of work by our technology task force and a considerable investment of funds by the Board of Trustees. This is only the second weekend we have used this technology, so something could go wrong. But here's what has gone right. The temple has adapted to meet the congregation's changing needs. Our technical upgrades enable us to share the words and music that are offered on this bima in every direction. If you are attending a Temple Emeth service for the first time, I say, Bruchim Habaim, welcome. I cannot see you, but I welcome you into our sacred space, the Rabbi Louis J. Siegel Sanctuary. If you are watching this service on Facebook Live or YouTube, take a moment to make your presence known by entering your name and location in the comment section. And then comment again when you are moved by a song or inspired by a prayer. I'm sorry to say that the cantor and I won't be able to see your comments, but your fellow worshipers will, and your words will help create a sense of community that we yearn to feel at the holidays. This evening, we use the gold volume of Mishkan HaNefesh for Rosh Hashanah. I hope you will do your best to follow the service, but I have a second, somewhat contradictory hope. You do not have to follow along all the time. If your brain gets tired from too much screen time, then I hope you will turn to a reading on one of the blue pages. They are wonderful and intended for just such a moment. Don't be afraid to sing when we sing, to read along with the English passages, and to rise when we honor the Torah or get to other significant parts of the service. We are blessed to reach this moment and step boldly into a new year. These high holy days will be different in so many ways, and we will see contradictions that we have never seen before. The first of these is that this year we pray separately, that next year we may pray together. I'd now like to turn to Cantor Tillum to offer a word about this evening's music.
Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. Where there is song, there is prayer. And so, while I am always moved to find a spiritual connection with all of you through music, tonight, that connection, that spiritual longing is slightly diminished. Since I do not have here my beautiful, wonderful Temple Emeth choir singing with me. But I hope and pray that each one of you is singing at the top of your lungs in your own home. I'm sorry to your spouses that I've said that, but that's really how I feel. You will truly be missed this evening, and I hope that each of you finds song deep within your hearts and finds spirit within your souls this Rosh Hashanah.
We begin our worship with the lighting of our Shabbat and Yom Tov candles. We turn in Mishkan HaNefesh to page 10.
All the stars are hidden, and the moon is dark tonight. In the wide expanse of heaven, north to south, not a ray of light. Light a bright candle in my heart-shadowed tent, and through the wide expanse of heaven, the light will shine. Where there is sadness, let us offer love. Where there is fear, let us reach for hope. On this eve of the new year, may we bring light to one another.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Shabbat and this festival. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehachiyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechayanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Our service continues on page 19. Please rise as we open the ark for our blessing for the new year. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Yehi ratzon shenizkeh levirchotecha bishnat chameshet alafim ushmonim ve'echad. Elohei olam barech otanu ve'et kol beit Yisrael b'chidush yameinu b'simcha u'v'shalom b'nechama u'v'ometz lev b'chilut atzamot u'v'ruach eitana. Yehi pri sfatenu mikubal v'ratzui milfanecha bifros hashana hacharasha la'ad modim anachnu lach al matanat hachayim. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5781. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness, and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. We remain standing as we turn in our prayer book to page 26. We read together in English at the top of the page. We accept God's sovereignty in reverence, treating others with love, devoting ourselves to Torah. May this be our will as we witness.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
Ve'ahavta et את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue now on page 32. We read together in English, "Truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom." Witness to this historic might, the people thanked and praised God by name, freely accepting the reign of heaven. Then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to you this song of utter joy.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושי פלא, מלכותך רב ונאמר כי בר אדוני את יעקב לא מן חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני על ישראל.
We turn now in our prayer books to page 38. This is the first time in 11 years that Erev Rosh Hashana falls on Shabbat, and so we celebrate this occasion, we celebrate the confluence of our new year and our day of rest by joining together in singing Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני Shavat
In a moment, we will enter Hatfilah, the central standing prayer of our service. The root of the word tefillah is judgment, for honest prayer is a form of self-judgment, and this is especially true for the High Holy Days. To prepare us for Hatfilah, I would like to share a poem by Rabbi Karen Kadar entitled Hide and Seek. All my life, I have played hide and seek. Hide, seek, hiding from you, dear one, and from myself, from my faults, from the dusty parts of my soul that have not seen light in so many years, that are afraid to face what needs to be seen, what needs to emerge, what needs repair. Expose me, O God. I search for your presence, for the courage, for the strength to become known, to be found, and to smooth out the rough spots, and to live, and to be fearless in the truth of who I am, and what I can offer, and who I can become, and not to hide. Find me. Before we begin the tefillah, Cantor Tillam would like to offer a few words about the music in this part of the service.
One of the things that makes the music of Temple Emeth so beautiful is that we have, and we are blessed to have, a singing congregation. What do I mean by that? In the evenings on the High Holy Days, as I mentioned earlier, we would normally have our choir, Kol Emet, here, singing along, leading our congregation in prayer and song. And during the day on the High Holy Days, well, this congregation is a singing congregation. And we have grown accustomed to the congregation singing the parts that we love, of the music that we love. And me, I get to sing harmonies and descants, meaning notes high above the rest of the congregation. How unique and special it is that we can do that together. A few weeks ago, it occurred to me that all of that would be lost if we didn't have anyone to sing the melody. You can't sing harmony with yourself. And so I am blessed, we are blessed, to have Amanda Eastman, a member of our congregation, with a beautiful voice, here on our bima throughout the High Holy Days, playing the part of the congregation so that I can do what I do best and make the music unique, special, beautiful, and full of spirit for each of you. So welcome, Amanda.
Our service continues with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 40.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach irutei v'hamlich malchutei B'chayeichon u'v'yomeichon U'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'galal v'zman kariv yimeru Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach V'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha. Leila, u'leila, min kol bichata, v'shirata, tushbichata, v'nechemata, damiran, be'alma, b'meru, amen.
We rise for the tefillah, page 42.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Akol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava. Zochreinu l'chayim, melech hafetz b'chayim. Zochreinu l'chayim, melech hafetz b'chayim. V'chod v'einu b'sefer ha'chayim, v'chod v'einu b'sefer ha'chayim. Lemancha, lemancha, lemancha Elohim chayim. 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 Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch Shema, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Amen. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei kol atarav le'oshia morid hatah. Michalkel chayim b'chesed, mechayei hakol b'rachamim rabim, sonech noflim v'rofei cholim, u'metim asurim, u'mekayem emunato d'shenei afar, mi chamocha b'gevorot, u'mi dom melach, melach meimit u'mechayei, u'matmiach Yeshua, mi chamocha el rachamim, zochei yitzrav l'chayim rachamim, v'ne'eman natal l'chayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol.
We continue on page 49. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yihalalucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day, Selah. Please be seated. We continue now on page 52. We read together in English, "You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation, upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally. You are God, Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah."
Kadosh atah v'nor Hashemecha v'ein Elohim mibaladecha. Kakatuv vayikba Adonai tzivot b'mishpat. V'ha'el hakadosh nikdosh b'tzedakah. Baruch atah Adonai. Hamelech, Hamelech, Hamelech HaKadosh.
Our service continues on page 67. We read responsively in English on page 67. "Great is peace, for all blessings flow from peace. Great is peace, for without peace no blessing is complete. Great is peace, for even in times of war, the hope for peace is undiminished. Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who repent. Great is peace, for peace is the inheritance of the righteous. Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who love and study the Torah. Great is peace, for peace is granted to the humble. Great is peace, for peace is granted to those who do justice. Great is peace, for God's name is peace. Great is peace, for peace is equal in weight to all the works of creation. Great is peace, for even heaven needs peace. Behold, if peace is needed in heaven, where neither hatred nor strife is found, how great the need for peace on earth, where hatred and strife abound. Baruch atah Adonai, oseh hashalom. You are the Blessed One, the Eternal One, our source of shalom. We take a moment now for Tfilat Halev, the opportunity to offer silent prayer. Inspirational readings for this time are found on pages 68 and 69. Our service continues in Mishkan HaNefesh on page 74. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the works of their hands, "You are our gods." But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt, and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach out for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. We call you Avinu. As a loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu. As sovereign of our souls, help us rise from our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision, we offer ourselves anew. Avinu Malkeinu is found in your Machzor on page 76. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu lema'ancha rachem aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, for your sake, show us mercy. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shmecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, shlach refuah shlema licholei amecha. Avinu Malkeinu, bring healing and wholeness to the ill among us. Avinu Malkeinu, kra roa gzar dinenu. Avinu Malkeinu, allay the harshness of the decree against us. Avinu Malkeinu, kodvenu b'sefer geula v'yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu, inscribe us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu, zochrenu b'zichron tov lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, remember our goodness and call it to mind. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lema'ancha v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake and save us.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lifanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamal Aleinu. V'yal Aleinu, V'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Dever, V'cherev V'ra'av, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kol Tzar, U'mastin, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu b'sefer chayim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodesh Aleinu, Kodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kaneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein Hanu Asi. Aseimanu,
Please be seated. Last week, the skies over my hometown of Oakland, California, turned orange. The sun was blocked out. Late summer temperatures fell into the 60s. One of my friends there described it like being in Alaska in November. Smoke from wildfires all up and down the West Coast had settled in over the Bay Area. The word commonly used to describe the sight was apocalyptic. Though the skies have returned to normal color, they are still not normal. Air quality in the affected areas is now some of the worst in the world. It would have been bad enough had this been the greatest crisis of the year, but of course it was not. It is easy to make the case that 2020 has been the worst year of the 21st century. True, it has to compete with 2001, when terrorists attacked our country in an unprecedented way. There's 2005 and 2012, when hurricanes devastated major American cities. And there's 2008, when the Great Recession began. But 2020, with the shutdowns necessitated by the coronavirus, the racial unrest in cities from coast to coast, and the environmental impact of heat waves, fires, and hurricanes, is the worst year in my lifetime, with tragedy and hardship affecting many more people than previous years. And the great irony of this moment is that we cannot share our sacred space together. The very way we find strength in difficult times is prevented by the difficult times themselves. I am grateful that we were able to install live streaming equipment in time for these holidays, but watching High Holy Day services, even on first-rate equipment, is still second best. When we take a broader view of history, we can remember that 2020 is not the worst year ever. The flu pandemic of 1918 killed between 50 and 100 million people. In 1349, the Black Death wiped out half of Europe. And yet, according to scientists who study such things, neither of those was the worst year to be alive. No, to determine that, a team led by a professor from the University of Maine had to go to the Col Gnifeti Glacier in the Swiss Alps. They drilled down and removed a 236-foot-long core, which, kind of like the rings on a tree, revealed an environmental history going back 2,000 years. With their technology, they were able to take over 3 million readings from the sample, showing which particles and minerals were in the falling snow, not just in a given year, but often in a given month. Their conclusion, according to Science magazine, is that the worst year to have ever been alive was 536. That year, a volcanic eruption in Iceland blocked the sun for 18 months, lowering global temperatures, diminishing or eradicating crop yields, and setting in motion a course of events, including the so-called Justinian plague, that would make life miserable for a century. I had several reactions when I read this article. The first was sorrow. No matter how much worse 536 was compared to 2020, that would bring little comfort to those who lost loved ones in this year's upheaval. There are nearly 1 million families worldwide grieving a loss to COVID-19, including the Fusco family of Freehold, New Jersey, who in March lost 4 members of their family to the disease in a matter of days. With pain so raw, unexpected, and overwhelming, how is anyone expected to believe that this is anything but the worst year ever? My next reaction was relief. To borrow a phrase from the musical Hamilton, how lucky we are to be alive right now, in contrast to 536. Even if we have recently witnessed the worst suffering of our lifetimes, it is a tiny fraction of what that volcano caused. We can bounce back. In some ways, we are already bouncing back. Even if it takes longer than we ever imagined for a vaccine to come to market, because of advances in healthcare, the coronavirus will never be as deadly as the plagues of old. Even if grocery stores have trouble keeping their shelves stocked, because of advances in growing and preserving food, we could never have another famine like that one. My third reaction was fear. Who says that something like the volcanic eruption of 536 will never happen again? Isn't that just hubris, or what an older generation might have called tempting the evil eye? An Icelandic volcano erupted in 2010 and grounded European air travel for a week. And earthquakes in Iceland as recently as last month portend that another volcano could erupt there again. Orange skies over Oakland show that extreme forces of nature can block out the sun. We may convince ourselves that technological advances have given us control over our environment, but in the big picture, we do not have control. There are simply some things against which we cannot protect ourselves. I believe that the Avinu Malkeinu prayer is intended to address all three of these reactions: the sorrow, the gratitude, and the fear. As we stand in judgment on the cusp of a new year, Avinu Malkeinu anticipates these emotions and contextualizes them within the scope of God's power. Avinu Malkeinu chonenu va'anenu. It doesn't take the death of a loved one to overwhelm us with sorrow. Small losses, such as having to cancel anticipated events or being unable to maintain your routine, can create sorrow too. So we cry out, Avinu Malkeinu, answer us with grace. The psalm says that God is near to all who call upon God in sincerity, but at the same time, we must strive to do for others that which we ask God to do for us. As we ask God to be gracious and answer us, so too may we be gracious and answer the call of our neighbors and friends. God's presence is a comforting presence, so when we witness the sorrow of others, we act to comfort. Let not a single tear fall before it is wiped away by a caring hand. We may have to interpret this figuratively for a while, but even from a distance, each of us bears the divine power to diminish someone's pain. The prayer goes on, Ki ein banu ma'asim. So much of what we have is not what we earned, but what we were lucky enough to receive, for our deeds are wanting. We had little control over whether the adults in our lives when we were young were kind and nurturing. While we had the choice to take advantage of our opportunities, we had little control over what opportunities were presented to us. Most importantly, we had no control over the time or place where we were born, although statistically that is a prime factor in how long we will live and whether we will prosper. Our deeds are wanting, but we are unbelievably lucky to be alive in 2020 and not in 536. We should approach the world with that kind of humility, relief, and gratitude. The prayer ends, Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Save us through acts of justice and love. If we are afraid, and certainly we have reason to be, we must trust in God's saving power, beyond what we can control and beyond what we can plan for. In that space in our hearts where fear can take root, we can have faith that God cares about us, for we are God's cherished children. There are no guarantees in life, not that a second wave of coronavirus will not spread, nor that an Icelandic volcano will not erupt. But acknowledging God's justice and love puts the fears of those things in perspective. At the outset of this service, we read from the Machzor, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. Those words articulate our hopes for the new year no matter what the circumstances. The section ends, we are forever grateful for the gift of life. Tonight we have gathered like never before. We have a range of emotions including sorrow, gratitude, and fear, but even when we are distant, our prayers to God have the power to ascend to heaven, to connect us with our Creator, to bring meaning and perspective to our lives. We are forever grateful for the gift of life because, though the journey has been bumpy, we have been brought to this very moment. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. Our service continues now with the Kiddush, which is found in your Machzor on page 78. We rise for the Kiddush.
Lift this cup to the year that is gone, for mountaintop moments and a taste of joy. Celebrations shared, milestones met, all we've mastered and achieved since last we met. For wedding rings, tears, and kisses under the chuppah, new babies' first words and first steps. For the children who bless our homes and bring life to our community. For B'nai Mitzvah and confirmands, young teachers of this holy congregation, ours to cherish and guide with love. For beloved wives and husbands, sisters and brothers, for loyal friends who grow more precious with each passing year. For this community which nourishes us all, for all we've learned, for all we've struggled through, for challenges surmounted and disappointments met with courage. For last moments shared with those we loved and lost, for parents and grandparents whose memories are with us forever. We lift this cup for the year that is gone, for the year that begins. May we meet it in strength, in unity, in hope. We lift life's cup and celebrate survival. So may we sanctify each day that is ours. Thus there was evening and there was morning, the sixth day. Completed now were the heavens and the earth and their whole array. And on the seventh day God completed the work that had been done. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and called it holy. For on it God ceased from all the work of creating that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am ורוממנו מכל לשון וקידשנו במצוותיו ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום השבת הזה ואת יום הזיכרון הזה יום זיכרון תורה באהבה מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים קיווינו בך אתה ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ודברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת וישראל ויום הזיכרון
We remain standing for the Aleinu, which is found in your Siddur, in your Machzor, on page 82.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon, ha'kol l'atei k'dula liotzer b'reishit, shelo asarnu k'goyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpot ha'adama, shelo sam chalakenu kahem, v'gora aleinu k'chol amonam, v'anachnu koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. We turn now to page 85. May the time not be distant, our God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. We continue on page 87. These things I know, how the living go on living, and how the dead go on living with them, so that in a forest even a dead tree casts a shadow, and the leaves fall one by one, and the branches break in the wind, and the bark peels off slowly, and the trunk cracks, and the rain seeps in through the cracks, and the trunk falls to the ground, and the moss covers it, and in the spring the rabbits find it and build their nest inside the dead tree, so that nothing is wasted in nature or in love. This Shabbat, we remember those for whom we are in the Shloshim, 30-day period of mourning. Marvin Gruber, friend of Ruth and Peter Adler. Dana Salzman, a member of Temple Emeth and wife of Jay Salzman. And Elba Galarza, remembered by the Sidenary de Lavina family. We remember as well those whose yard sites occurred this week. Alfred Adler, Jack Bloomfield, Rhea Amber Boschus, Martha Broder, Lore Brown, Tom Cripps, Frank Dennis, William I. Dillon Jr., Mark Finkelstein, Edith Gould, Jay Greenspan, Hannah Gross, Zachary Scott Grunstein, Louise Hahn, Francis Harris, Irving Harris, Isidore Hetson, Barbara Kaufman, Herbert Kaufman, Ray Kosakoff, Marion Kurtz, George M. Levitas, Edward Victor Mednick, Rose Michelin, David Paul, Erwin Polishuk, Mo Sachs, Joseph Salomon, Sidney Sandler, Regina Schneider, Jack Shiner, Lawrence Seidman, Nancy Seidman, Bevlyn Simpson, Rita Spiewak, Ella Straussman, Robert Louis Strickler, Rabbi Joshua Trachtenberg, Sipora Tippy Ullman, Fanny Wharton, Leo Weil, Diane Werner, and Bernice Witt. And we remember the names of 6 of the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust: Rachel Sapozhnikov of the Soviet Union, age 20, Bluma Vertlib of the Soviet Union, age 45, Chaim Vertlib of the Soviet Union, age 54, Abram Steinberg of Poland, age 22, Yaakov Vertlib of the Soviet Union, age 28, and Nachman Steinberg of Poland, age 70. We remember them all. We take them into our hearts with our own as we turn now to page 90 in our Machzor, and we rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mivorach leolam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudsha, b'rechu. La'ela ula'ela, mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace upon all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Our closing song is found on page 95 at the bottom of the page. We join together in singing an English interpretation of the Hashivenu. We join in singing Return Again.
Return again, return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again. Return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are. Return to what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul.
A blessing for the new year, page 98. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us, as we read responsively, a year of abundance and atonement, a year of blessings bestowed and received, a year of community and compassion, a year of delight and exaltation, a year of enlightenment, a year of friendship and forgiveness, a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel, a year of health and healing and humor, a year of inner strength and well-being, a year of joy and Jewish celebration, a year of knowledge and learning for its own sake, a year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters, a year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness, a year of nature protected and enjoyed, a year of optimism and hope, a year of peace pursued with perseverance, a year of quiet and tranquility, a year of rain in its season, a year of song and spiritual growth, a year of Torah study and tikkun olam, a year of understanding and unity, a year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome, a year of wisdom acquired and shared, a year of coexistence among the families of the earth, a year of young and old reaching out to one another, a year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world. Our God and God of the generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound of blessings, your gift of life. We rise for the closing blessing. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu shetechadesh aleinu shana tova umtuka. Our God and God of our ancestors, eternal God of all generations, may your presence in our lives this new year renew our spirits and renew our strength. May it be a good year. May it be a sweet year. L'shana tova tikatevu v'techatemu. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. As we conclude our service, we turn to those around us and say, Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.